Welcome, everyone. How's everyone doing in this time of social isolation? This is something that we've never experienced before, for sure. I know I've never experienced it. I woke up this morning and I just started thinking about just the different stages, the first few days, if you were like me, it was so novel. And unprecedented that you're just like, okay, this'll pass, almost like a little adventure type thing. But by day 5, if you were like me and some other folks that I talked to, it was just like, hey, how much longer are we going to have to live life this way? So I woke up thinking and comparing what we're experiencing now to the stages when we talk about the stages of loss and grief. You guys have pretty much heard the 5 stages of loss and grief. If you've ever taken a Psych 101 class, they've talked about it. If you've ever been in any type of grief counseling, they've talked about the 5 stages. And I wanted to just apply that to what we're experiencing here now with the whole corona crisis situation. So, hi, Aaron and Nasha. I see you guys are coming on. Hey, Cousin Nikki. So let's talk about this chart. So I made this chart. If you follow me on social media, you can see this chart here, the six stages of social distancing that I made here. And they kind of go in line a little bit with the stages of grief and loss, the first stage being denial. So if you were like me, probably about 2 weeks ago, because I don't watch a lot of news, I don't watch a lot of news stories. I even tell my patients don't watch too much news because I know the effect that it has on our mental and emotional state. So, I was just kind of getting little bits and pieces about what was going on in other parts of the world with this corona crisis here. And not really abreast of what was even happening in Italy. So if you were like me, that first stage was like this stage of denial, And as I put on the chart there, that's all about saying, like, it can't be as serious as they're talking about it is. Or, we even had the leader of this country saying that it was a hoax himself. People saying that they were blowing this way out of proportion, or, if you were like me thinking, okay, this is something, hopefully it'll blow away in a day or two, it'll be gone. But as we're closing out week 1 and we are nowhere near the peak of this crisis, we understand that this is going to be a lot longer than we ever imagined, and we're in for the long haul. So this whole stage of denial, when we talk about denial, when we're in these type of stages, it's a defense mechanism. By definition, denial is a defense mechanism. It's a defense mechanism to help protect our ego against something that could cause us what we perceive as anxiety or pain. And so we don't want things to be true. So we resort to this defense mechanism of denial just to help ease the coping mechanisms, because this is taxing. This whole situation here is taxing our coping mechanism. And that's why initially, when we're in a stage of anything that's out of the ordinary or can be considered traumatic, because this can be considered a traumatic experience here, we resort immediately to denial. It can't be true. This isn't happening. I think most of us, there's still some stragglers out there, but I think most of us are past this denial stage. And then after denial, where do we go? After denial, we go into this stage of bargaining. Now, bargaining is a form of a defense mechanism as well. It's you can liken it to rationalization. It's kind of when you want to kind of just say, what, I can still move about life as I typically would, I'll just be extra careful. I'll just visit the places or the people that I typically visit anyway. You start coming up with these bargaining if I do that. Hey, Lori from Chicago. Or you'll say, another form of bargaining is, okay, I'll stay inside on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays. But as we know, with this virus, there's no such thing as you can be selective about, even the days that you're deciding to expose yourself. When you go outside, when you're outside of your place of residence, you are exposing yourself. Or if you happen to be a carrier, because I think the majority of us at this point have been exposed in one way or another. Even if we're asymptomatic, we could be a carrier. So not only are you risking exposing yourself, but you're risking exposing others if you are potentially a carrier to that. So that's the bargaining form. Maybe I can just ease up on my daily activity a little bit, or not visit as many friends or restaurants or places that I typically visit. And we see that even if you see the states that are a little ahead of us and the countries that's ahead of us, where they eventually went to a total lockdown, that form of bargaining does not work. But again, bargaining is our way to try to just help our emotional system and our coping mechanisms deal with this, because this is so new and just random and unprecedented that we don't know how to cope with this. When you talk about social isolation, that's a form of just taking away many forms of our freedom, And personal freedom is one of those things that it's innately something that we thrive to have. So whenever we feel like our personal freedom is being infringed upon, innately we want to fight against it. We want to deny it. We want to figure out a way to bargain, some other way of dealing with that situation. So that's bargaining. Many of you, myself included, have probably gone through that stage. And then where we're going into is just form of anger, just mad. Yesterday, my children got word that the state of Michigan is saying that the courses they're doing at home, this waking up and doing schoolwork and the teachers sending them schoolwork, won't even count toward their instructional hours. And when she read that, she just let out this huge scream, like, no, that's the anger stage. Like, you gotta be kidding me. Now, this is kind of, you can liken the anger stage to this stuff. You know what I want to say? This ish is getting real, or feeling that it's just so unfair. I have a senior that was planning on graduating, prom. We were planning on flying out to visit one of the schools that she's decided in Portland, Oregon to seriously consider going to. We were going in 2 weeks. And so all of that has been just cut, and that can make people very angry for all of us. I had several paid speaking engagements. I had workshops, I had clients, I had work, just all income has been cut off. And this, I have people, my Goldman Sachs group, people who have restaurants that have closed, and they can only provide carry out. So people's income, their revenue has been drastically decreased. And if that doesn't cause anger, I don't know what would. People are saying this is so unfair. I'm losing money. I'm losing customers. I'm losing my patience here. The first few days, it's kind of like you have that patience. Like I said, we're in that stage of, this is different. This is new. I can use a day or two of just sitting back and relaxing. But now reality is setting in, and anger is not far behind that. People are wondering, what if my business goes under? What happens if I'm not able to pay my bills? All of those things are just considerations. And when you think of the what ifs, it can be very terrifying. It definitely can be very terrifying. And then in that anger stage, when you move past that anger stage, typically there's a relapse stage. There's a, what? This still can't be a series. I still want to go. I want to go to the show. I want to go to the movies. I want to visit friends. I want to go to a restaurant. You almost will find yourself reverting back to the first 3 stages, kind of cycling back through that again. And that's not uncommon at all. And it's a temporary, the relapse stage is a temporary, brief return to the first 3 stages, because our brain still isn't processing what's going on here. For us to be told, entire office buildings shutting down, business as usual, as we are just accustomed to do things automatic, day in and day out, and all of that has changed, and every day is changing. Like, we don't know what tomorrow will bring, right? Because we can see in other states, again, that are ahead of us, they're going to show total lockdown. So there's this fear, of what ifs, all these what ifs and these uncertainties out here that's causing just a lot of anxiety, causing a lot of anger. And then we move, and this is why I want to come on and talk to you guys today, because we want to be careful that we don't move, or if we do move into this very depressive state, this depression state, that we don't stay there for long, okay? because it would not be unheard of or uncommon for you guys to move into this depressive state. And I'm putting just that little sheet up there now. And this is when you start saying, will life ever be the same again? What if life isn't the same again? Or you start comparing, like, life was so much better before this, or I miss my family, my friends, my activities, or, what if life doesn't go back to normal? What if it doesn't go back to normal? All of that can send you into just this tizzy. I know myself personally. Yesterday, I told my children, I cannot recall, I've been working like since the age of 12, right? I can't recall having a day, 2 days, unless I'm on vacation or it's a holiday, of not having somewhere to go, not going out and earning money, And then you start thinking about, oh my gosh, you got kids in college, kids getting ready to go to college. You have all these responsibilities, and how long will this last? How much reserve income do you have that will allow, you to kind of just be able to navigate through this crisis? So you'll find a lot of people going into this depressive state, especially if you were someone already dealing with or have a history of depression. So we want to talk about, and we will talk about some coping mechanisms with that. And then after the depressive state, what we hope we all will get to, because we're going to get through this, but it's just the acceptance stage. That's the acceptance stage there. So this is where, we have to understand, it is what it is. It's out of our control. It is really out of our control. With patience and understanding and implementation of self-care tools, we'll all get through this. We'll get through this difficult time, and we'll return to, and you notice I put, if you can see the chart that I put up on social media that I'm showing you, you notice I said we'll get back to our daily activities. You notice I didn't say we'll get back to things as normal. Because after you experience something as just outlandish and unheard of and unprecedented as this, there's no such thing as going back to normal, okay? There's no such thing as going back to normal. And Raina, cry if you have to. Someone says, this is making me cry. I want to retire. I just lost tens of thousands of dollars. There's so many of us. This is a universal collective experience so many of us are having. And if you feel like crying, cry. It's okay. You need to release that, because again, crying is very important to release just the chemicals our bodies are building up from all this anxiety and stress that this situation is causing. But we have to accept that this is where we are right now. And like I said, when I talk about life may not get back to normal, I don't want you to find that depressing, okay? Because as with any loss, as with any change, as with any traumatic experience, what follows that is a new normal. And a new normal isn't necessarily a bad thing. How many of you, myself included, have been saying for me, probably the last couple years, oh my gosh, if I could just get a couple weeks to just be still, just breathe, regain myself, work on some things that I've been wanting to work on. And it's been forced upon us now. And I've been taking advantage of. I finally created, my platform, my virtual platforms that I've been wanting to create for so very long, but I just hadn't had the time. I hadn't had the time with, with clients and with classes and with contractual work and with children, with all of that. So the last several days of kind of just being still and isolating myself socially has afforded me the opportunity to do that. And this is what we have to do. One of the strongest and best coping mechanisms that we can do for ourselves right now is to, whatever it is that you enjoy doing, be it reading, maybe I read someone's status today that said they got back to sewing. They've been sewing again. Gail Perry Mason yesterday on Facebook, she did a happy hour live on Facebook. I see so many people going live, sharing what they're cooking or what they're doing. Do whatever you can to connect, because connection is important. Spend this time even working on yourself. Maybe there's benefit in stillness. I did yesterday a virtual sound meditation, and you can go back and look at the live video on my timeline here. I did a virtual sound meditation gong session. Take some time and just be still and listen to that. Go within, reconnect with the power that you have within yourself to navigate through this very difficult time. Because the more resistance you put up, the more difficult it's going to be for you. So self-care tools. Megan said, I was shaking the other night and tried to fight it so much. Then she's one of my TRE, my trauma release students. And TRE is actually a form to help release anxiety and stress and tension that is caused with the body with stress. So whatever, that's a great self-help tool. I'm trying to figure out a way to teach it virtually. I know you can, because when I went through the training, part of our classes were virtually, but I haven't mastered that yet, how I want to go about that technique. I love that. Edward Kent said, if we can't go outside, we can always go inside. Rediscover yourself. You know, my book, Bloom, 7 Steps of Personal Transformation, it's available, you can download it on Kindle right now. You don't have to go outside. You don't have to it's on Amazon, but we know Amazon is not even delivering non-essentials, even though my book is essential. But you know what I mean. Amazon's not delivering non-essential items. So you can go on and download Bloom 7 Steps of Personal Transformation. The first chapter is all about rediscovering you. And you can spend this time and just really, like you said, Edward, going within and doing some self-inventory. You know, when we talking about, if you're like me, you've been doing a lot of decluttering. I've been decluttering, throwing things away. But we can go internally now and we can declutter, because there's a lot of clutter within us that we can use this time of stillness and social isolation to remove, and to just, when we come out on the other side of this, be a better us, right? You know, I always say with the right tools, you can build anything, even a better you. So rediscover yourself. I'm going to go through even the 7 steps of the whole Bloom process and tell you how you can take advantage of that. Rediscovering you, we just talked about that. Living in the now, that's step number 2. So living in the now is understanding, like I said, the acceptance. We are here. This is where we are now. We have very little control of it. And what we want to avoid doing is focusing on the past, because past focused thinking creates depression. Oh my God, things were so much better. Raina, what you said, oh my gosh, I've lost tens of thousands of dollars. You know, that has happened. Really is no control you have over that right now. If you stay there in the past, you're going to find yourself becoming more and more depressed. So living in the now. Future focused thinking. Other than creating vision boards that are positive, that's one thing you could do. But other than, you know, being future focused in, I know we'll be well when this is all said and done. I don't want you being anxious about the future. What if I lose my house? What if I lose my business? You know, all of those things, because that's future focused thinking creates anxiety. And we want to avoid any more anxiety coming into our world at this time. The third step of the Bloom 7-step process is making sense of your senses. Making sense of your senses. So again, if you feel like crying, cry. Crying is an emotional state, and there's benefits to crying. You can Google that and see the benefits of crying. If you feel like dancing, dance. You know, honor whatever emotions you're having at that time. Honor what you see. You know, find some beauty. You can see here, when we all went into panic shopping, they're about a week old now, but they still look beautiful. I went out and got some fresh flowers, because for me, the sense of sight, when I can see beauty around me, it makes me feel better. I look out, I look at my beautiful view out here. If you don't, you know, just look at a tree, you know, look at the leaves and the buds that are starting to form on the tree. You know, do things with your senses that will help to take you into a good emotional state. So seeing things, looking at things, don't spend all day on CNN. Please, please, please don't do that, because that's going to overwhelm your coping mechanisms, and that won't put you in a good place. Listen, you know, the sense of sound, like I said, go back and look at the sound meditation virtual session I put up yesterday. Put on some good music that makes you feel good, you know. All of those things are good. Sound, we know, is healing, and this is a huge part of my practice, so you know how big I am about that. Good, everybody's been cooking, right? When I tell you, I'm going to share some pictures. I have cooked more in the last week than I have ever before. Luckily, I haven't been eating crazy, but I've been eating it, and it's good. But, you know, so cook that good meal. Who cares? Look, these, what they call it, the young people call it hot girl bodies or whatever. That's 2021, okay? Right now, we're not focused, although you can still do your exercises, get outside, walk, and do all of that. But indulge. It's okay to indulge in moderation. Like, enjoy the taste of the foods that you're cooking. Savor it. That's, we've had a lot of personal freedom taken from us, and so we want to be able to make sure that we're doing some things that we enjoy in that too. So the sense of taste. What are other senses? The touch. Take hot baths, hot showers. Hug who's ever in your house. Those, we don't have to stay, if they're not sick, we don't have to stay socially isolated from our loved ones. So make sure you're giving people hugs and, touch. The sense of touch in a time like this is so very, very important. Trust me. And smell. Aromatherapy. Right now I have my aromatherapy going. I have one of my diffusers on with my essential oils. And so it puts a nice smell in the home here. And it just puts, again, your emotional state in a good place. So that's step 3. Okay, step 4. And again, you can download my book on Amazon, on Kindle, or you can order it on Amazon, although I don't know when it would come through when you order it. But the step 4 is visualization. So make a vision board. And you may say, I don't have a poster board. You have, if you got a printer in your home, if you have magazines in your home, cut out, start just putting things together in your vision board. If you say, but I don't have poster board, find some picture frame. If it's a picture you don't like, or you can find tape and just tape it up on the wall until you're able to get boards. Or, we're going out, every now and then to the grocery store, pick up a poster board or what have you. But spend this time, and maybe we'll have a virtual vision board party, during this time, to just have people just get together and do some vision boarding with that. Yeah, and I know, Gail, you're such a social person, and you're just like, everybody, Detroit's godmother for so many people. And I know it's just hard for you not to be in a room. And I read one of your statuses where you said you're so used to hugging people, and it's just so hard not to do that. So visualize. And in this vision board, even if you are feeling this financial strain, create a vision board that's going to reflect what you want your life to look like. And act as if. Don't look like, oh, it's not going to look like this because I've lost $100,000 in the stock market. No. It's not about what you've lost. It's about what you want once you want to visualize for yourself. So start creating that vision board. Step 5 is affirmations. So we have to be careful, because yesterday I found myself saying, I am so bored, or I was like, I am not for this life. And I had to catch myself, because it's so easy to find ourselves affirming things that we don't want, because the 2 words I am are the 2 most powerful words that we have in language, and whatever we put after that becomes our reality. So start affirming what it is that we want to see. Like, you can use the pictures or the situations that you want to affirm on your vision board, and just start affirming what it is that you want. I am well. I am financially stable. I am financially recovered from this setback. Start speaking that as if it's the truth. It doesn't have to be the truth now, but speak it as if. We have to act as if right now. Like they say, psych yourself out, fake it till you make it, whatever you have to do, but we got to get through this. And I'm thinking about, Beloy, I may just do a virtual vision board party. And where are we at? We're at step 7, 6, 7. Let me just get. So stillness. I think we're on step 6 now. So stillness, and we talked about stillness. Go back and revert to the virtual gong meditation sound therapy session that we had yesterday. I put on my timeline. That's on my timeline. I encourage you guys. I put the link on this broadcast here. So I've created my Patreon platform. So for a subscription as low as $10 a month, you'll have full access to all the virtual gong sessions that I will be doing in the days and weeks to come. And that's even past this. So people and my regulars will tell you, even if you're not able to get to the center once it reopens, you'll have access, again, for just $10 a month on this platform, to all the virtual sound meditations, the gong, the singing bowls, the rain sticks, all of that stuff. And that's just a good way to just be still. Again, I've been saying and having this fantasy in my head. I tell you guys for the last few years of just like, Is it, if I could just be still, if I could just have a few weeks, I could implement so many of the things I've wanted to implement. But I've never been able to, or I've never thought I've been able to, because we have responsibilities, right? We have things we have to do. But now that I've been forced into it, I had to make a choice. So I had that period of time yesterday that I was in those stages of, kind of anger, bargaining, anger, relapse, all of that stuff. And then I said, you know what? Sit down. I got my platform together. I went to the center. I did the virtual gong meditation. So I had to shift. I had to shift that whole perspective from being in this place of just kind of being angry and feeling lost and confused, to a place of empowering myself with the stuff that I can do now. And Amina is from, how are you guys holding up? Amina's from Quebec. I believe, yeah, she's from, how are you guys? I hope you guys are holding up well there as well. But she's asking, would I again do my Transformation Tuesday? I'm going to continue. You're going to see me more virtually than ever before. So just stay tuned. So just being still. Again, go within, because as I mentioned when I did the demonstration about the gong sessions on Thursday, we have to go within and kind of go to a place of stillness where we quiet down our physiology to allow ourselves to go up spiritually. And right now, this is what we have to connect to, just spiritual awareness. The bigger picture, in the big picture of this, trust me, I truly believe, and we have to find meaning in this, I truly believe this is part of a paradigm shift that is needed in this world. Now we're talking about helping others, when we lived in a country that didn't want to help others who were less fortunate. Now it's all about let's help people. It's all about forcing us to be still, be more around the family. My daughter yesterday is like, can we play a board game? So, and these are kids that's always on these phones. So for them to even ask, let's play a board game. I mean, think about what the potential that exists with this, okay? Because we have to look and know that everything's in divine order, and there's a bigger meaning to all of this. And the final step is connectedness. And understanding that we all are connected. And like I just said, that goes back to even what we're experiencing. This is connected to a bigger picture. The fact that you guys are listening to me now is connected. The fact that this thing started over in China and now it's going and moving through the world shows that we all are connected. There's no separateness here. So even though we're feeling socially isolated now, know that we're all connected, and the energy, the vibrations, the frequency, the thoughts, the affirmations that we put out here now is going to help strengthen that connectedness and make us just better off when we're all on the other side of this. So I hope this helps, guys. Share this video. Please check out my Patreon page. Consider subscribing. There are 4 different tiers. Again, as little as $10 a month, you'll have full access to all the sound therapy, sound meditation sessions. Those, we have subscribers now. After I finish this, I'm going and doing a Q&A. To talk about just other coping mechanisms on there. So you still have time if you become a subscriber. You can go to the Patreon. I'll be doing that immediately following this broadcast here. And then you have an opportunity to just have access one-on-one, or I should say in that group with me, and ask questions. And I can answer your questions that you have there about anything. And and with that platform, there's always interaction. So you have access to things behind the scenes that I won't even put up on Facebook, my content, my discussion, again, Q&A from podcasts and things of that sort. So thank you guys for joining me. Please share this broadcast. I will be touching in, like I said, more frequently than ever, because I can't sit still and just not practice what I'm passionate about. So I'm happy that you guys joined me this evening, and we're going to get through this. In the words of Kendrick Lamar, we're going to be all right. Okay? We're going to be all right with this. So guys, just hold tight, love you guys, and we'll be good. We'll be good. Just hang in there.